Welcome back to the Arbitress. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful structured sleeve that we see here. It has an open design effect, just like we see, and it's a standing structured sleeve, as you can see. I'm going to take you through how to cut and sew this. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so for this sleeve, I'm going to be cutting on my pattern first so that we can see it well, but you can also cut directly on your fabric. So by cutting on your fabric, you have to put the fabric on fold like this into two so that you can cut the two sides together. That's for one single sleeve. So for the pattern, you don't have to put it on fold. I'm just putting it on fold so that we can see what I'm doing very well and understand. So once you have your pattern like this, I'm going to mark my sleeve length. That's the total sleeve length where my sleeve is going to stop. I'm going to mark that, and then I'm going to mark my elbow. The elbow is important for me. That's where the opening is going to stop. So your opening is not stopping on the elbow. You just go ahead and mark wherever it is that you want the opening to stop. So after marking those 2 points, I'm rolling it out so that I'll know what I'm doing. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and mark the length of my opening, how elongated you want it to be. So from 3 to 5 inches is fine, or anyhow you want it to be. So let me just do around 4 to 4.5 inches for the elongation, and then I'm going to go ahead and make it into a straight line. So this is where my sleeve is going to start from. Okay, from where this elongation, this one is like just allowance for my elongation. You're still going to see how I'll connect it together. So here is where my sleeve is going to start from. So what you just need to do is to go ahead and draft your basic sleeve here. But to make it easy for me, I already have this basic sleeve that I have drafted. The tutorial on how to draft a basic sleeve is already on the channel, so you can check it out. So what I'm doing is just to place this here, and then I'm going to trace out my armhole for my sleeve. Okay, I'm using the size of my mannequin for this tutorial, so it's not a very big sleeve. So this is the armhole that I've traced out. You can also use a tracing wheel. So if you don't have your allowance with this, please kindly add your seam allowance to it. So you can see what I have there. So the next thing now is to mark my round sleeve measurement on the hem. So my round sleeve is 4.5 plus half an inch plus 1 inch seam allowance. I have 5.5 inches, so I'm connecting that, and then I'll go ahead and connect them together. So like I said, if you don't have allowance on this one, on this your already made pattern, you need to add your seam allowance to it. I'm not sure I have allowance here, so I'm just extending it a little bit by around half to 1 inch so that I don't have any shortage. Then I'm going to connect just like this. So this is my basic sleeve. So the allowance that I have here, like I said, is for my opening. So what I'm going to do now is just to connect this, and I said the opening is going to stop on the elbow. This is my elbow line. Okay, so now I'm just going to connect from, remember this part is my sleeve, so I'll just link this allowance back to my actual sleeve. The sleeve starts from here, so this is how I'm going to link it. If you have a pant cuff, it's very important at this point so that you can just smoothen it out around here. I don't want it to be too sharp, so I'm just using this to just blend this a little bit so that it can give me something blended, and that is all I'm doing. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and cut out this pattern. So like I said, this is a structured sleeve, so to make it structured you can use an interfacing so that it can stand well, especially at that opening part. You can use an interfacing, and if you want your opening to be even elongated, maybe to be pointed, you can leave allowance on this upper part, and then you extend it and bring it back to the head of your sleeve, if that is what you're going for. So it's totally up to you and the design that you have in mind. So now I'm cutting out my armhole, and then I'll go ahead and cut this. So you're going to need an interfacing for this. You can also use crinoline on this part, this opening part. You can also sew in crinoline so that it can just stand very well for you. So this is the shape that I have for my sleeve. So I'll go ahead and cut this on my fabric. I've gone ahead to cut it on my fabric, okay, and then I cut out the lining for it as well. Remember I said I'm adding interfacing, so I need to cover that up. So this is my lining. Okay, anyone can be the lining or the main fabric. This is the Mikado fabric, and you know Mikados are stiff. So and this is Ankara. So I'll go and add the interfacing to one of them. So I'm gonna also add the interfacing to it. I just added a little bit because I don't have so much. So I'm going to go ahead and sew it from on the side I'm going to have the opening, which is this side. So I'm going to sew from my elbow down, and then I'm going to sew from this part that has this elongation. Okay, so I'll have all of these parts opened. So I'll sew this part close and then sew from my elbow down. Okay, so now I've gone ahead to sew it. You can see my seam line. I use this thread so that you can see. I sew from the elbow to the hem, and then I sew the upper part as well, leaving the armhole open, leaving the side open, and this part that is going to be opened, I left it open. I just added allowance. I am interfacing here because I want it to stand, and this gum sleeve is very soft, so that's why I added it. So now what I'm going to do is to use the lining to, of course we have to cover up the interfacing, right? So I'm going to use the lining to turn the main fabric. Remember, this is what we want to achieve by the time we are done. So what you just need to do is to place them right side facing right side like this, and then we'll go ahead and sew around it. I hope you understand, so that we can turn it over. So I've gone ahead to sew it round. You can see if your seam allowance is a lot, you can trim it down or notch so that you don't have it bumping. So after turning this part, I'm going to go ahead and find a way to turn the hem as well so that it can be neat. So you place the hem against each other, and then you sew and turn. So after that, you're going to flip it like this, and then go ahead to iron it well. So once you flip it, that part that is going to be opened now is going to be really neat. It's not going to be looking rough. Okay, that's this part. So I think I'm going to use my Ankara as the lining, and then the plain Mikado as the main fabric. Okay, so you can see what I have here. So I'll iron it. So once I iron it, it's going to lay well for me before I close the side. Okay, so you can see now I have ironed it. I use same iron so that it can lay well. So this is the hem. This is what the inside looks like. You can see it is equally neat on the inside as well. You can use this Ankara part as your main, but I want to use the main part. So this is the part that will be open. You can see how clean it is looking. So the only part we have open now is our armhole area and the side seam. So for the side seam, you can just find a way to sew it lining to lining and main fabric to main fabric so that you can have something neat as well. Then after that, we are going to sew it to our armhole. So I'm going to sew the underarm area first now and bring it back to show us. Okay, so I've gone ahead to sew it on this side as well, and the way I sew is like I said, I sew lining to lining and main fabric to main fabric. You can see this is the main fabric and this is the lining, so that you can have it neat on the inside as well. If I flip it on the inside, you will see that it is neat. Okay, we don't have any part rough, so the only rough part we have here is just our armhole. So just like I did for the other ones, I'll go ahead and iron this on that area so that it can lie as flat as this is lying, and then this is where you're just going to sew it to your armhole. So I'll just go and place it. Like I said, I used the measurements of my mannequin, so the armhole is not so big. So if you're working with yours, use your actual armhole size measurement. I'll go and place it on the mannequin so that we can see what it looks like. So this is what the sleeve looks like. You can see how beautiful and neat this is looking. So if you want it to be neatly finished, just follow the steps that we used in creating this gorgeous sleeve, and you can see the open part as well. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful sleeve with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Share it our tutorial so that more people will get to see it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.